But first, Pickle, it is, in fact, let me check my watch here. Yeah, it is Tuesday.
Let's go.
And you know what happens on Tuesdays here on the show?
Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today, where we like to dive inside the numbers a little bit and talk, see if we can find something out about football through the magic of numbers and through the magic of mathematics. Some people call it mathemagic. They don't call it that. I'm sorry. I want to Can we start the show over?
Yeah, we got to scrap this one.
We are talking about recruiting. And I know Greg Powers is not here, so I'm out of my depth already.
Correct.
Right.
But you do like to do math.
I do like to do math.
So it's okay.
And in the magazine, in the 2022, 2023, all the magazines actually, summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, one of the pieces that I'm responsible for is our recruiting between the numbers piece, wherein we take the entire recruiting class that just signed, the entire FBS signing class, and we break it down in a lot of different ways. Which high schools produce the most talent?
Which states?
Which states produce the most talent? What positions are coming from what states? Things like that. We try to break it down in a lot of different ways. It's very graphical. It's fun. Yeah. I like it.
It is my favorite. I can honestly think I can say that it's my favorite thing to read in the magazine every single year.
It's
like
fun.
I look forward to editing it.
It's interesting. And so I've been crunching the numbers thanks to our helpful intern Cullen.
Yes.
Who helped me assemble the database of every 2023 signee at the FBS
Cullen.
level. Now, one thing to keep in mind, just a quick caveat on all of this. There are 3 FBS programs that are not in this database.
Okay.
Do you know which ones they are?
One of them's... Oh, wait. No. Well, one of them would be Sam Houston, right?
Sam Houston is in it because their class of 2023, we consider it to be an FBS signing class because it is... They're signing it for the purpose of playing at the FBS. That's how we view it.
Commerce?
No, it's not Commerce. There are 3 programs that are not 3 FBS programs that are not in this database. Can I give you a hint? Troops.
Oh. I thought you meant in the state of Texas, like people being moved up.
No, I mean in the
Army, Navy, Air Force.
Air Force. And the reason is that their
Sorry, I get what you're saying now.
Their football players do not sign letters of intent.
Correct. I did
not
know
sign
this.
letters of intent. Because they have a greater purpose. They do other things than just play football, and so they do not sign letters of intent. So I believe it's 129 or maybe 130 FBS programs out of the 133. I think it is. We put together a database of every recruit, and all told, if you're interested, I can give you a number.
Yeah, I am interested.
Oh, of how many recruits there were. There were a grand total of 2,495 FBS signees in the class of 2023. Of those, 2,246 are high school players. They're high school players. The others are JUCO transfers. This does not count transfers. So this does not count if you've already signed a letter of intent and then you go.
This is literal, technically pen to paper signees.
It is, yeah, exactly. It's high school and JUCO. We're going to focus on the high school side here, and we're going to talk a little bit about shopping local. Because we hear this a lot from pretty much every coach who gets hired. They say, we want to recruit the players in our home state. And that is for the head coach at Illinois. That's for the head coach at Georgia Tech. That's for the head coach at New Mexico State. All of them.
Florida, California.
Florida, they all want to recruit local. They all say that. But it's especially prevalent here in the state of Texas. And so what we did is I looked at who signed the most from within, what percentage of their 2023 sign class came from within their own state. Now, I will tell you that if you take a look at the top 11 programs as far as recruiting locally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are in the state of Texas.
Okay.
8 of them. So
I would think somewhere
8 programs recruited 80% or more of their 2023 signing class from within the state of Texas. Okay? We'll get to that in a moment. The 3 that didn't, that came in 4th place, 11 of their 12 signees came from California, Fresno State. 13 of the 15 signees from FIU came from Florida,
Wow.
and 9 of the
That's-
11 high school signees from San Jose State came from California.
FIU is actually shocking there because, I mean, realistic. It's Florida International University. They take a lot of people that are not homegrown. That's actually surprising.
They have done. I think their coaching staff has redoubled their efforts to recruit locally,
Right.
and it also makes sense, right? California, Florida, those are talent-rich parts of the state.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there were 8 programs that did not sign a single player from their home state.
That makes sense.
Okay, Boise State did not sign an Idaho player. That's because Idaho did not put out an FBS recruit this year. UMass did not sign an FBS player. Middle Tennessee State did not sign a Tennessee player.
I guess that's a little bit more surprising.
New Mexico State did not sign a New Mexico player.
Also kind of surprising.
Oregon State did not sign an Oregon player. And Wake Forest did not sign a North Carolina player. And Wyoming did not sign a Wyoming player. Now, there were also no Wyoming players that signed in the class 2023. Also of note, only one of Oregon's 28 signees were from Oregon.
Oregon's been dipping down into Texas more than anything.
And only one of Notre Dame's 23 signees came from Indiana.
Yeah.
So those are teams that are going outside of their home state. But let's take a look at how local Texas colleges shopped in 2023. You will notice 2 that scored a perfect score. Sam Houston, the newest FBS program in the state of Texas, 14 of 14. Every one of their players came from the state of Texas. Every one of their high school signees. And Texas State, 7 of their 7. Their hashtag is Take Back Texas. They have redoubled their efforts. They've made huge strides in that regard.
Now, is that just under GJ Kinney? Like,
So it's the class of 2023. So
Part
I'm
of that
sure
might
that
be
Jake
Spav.
Spavital. Now, I believe last year they also clocked in at 100%, but they only signed 2.
correct.
Right? So that's the thing, is that they have signed 7, and all 7 of them were from high school.
School.
From,
Okay.
from Texas. Okay?
Yeah.
Next on that list, UTSA. Jeff Traylor continues his run of shopping within the state of Texas. 92.3% of his that's third in the nation, came from their home state of Texas. Next up, maybe a surprise, North Texas.
Call.
10 of their 11 high school signees came from the state of Texas. Next up, speaking of former high school coaches, Texas Tech, 84%, 21 of their 25 signees came from the state of Texas. And then you've got TCU, 18 of their 28 came from Texas. That's 81.8%. SMU comes in next, 81.3%. And Baylor. Baylor also recruited 80% of their signees from the state of Texas. That leaves 5 programs that had less than 80%. Now, 80% is still a ton. Right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
still a ton. But then you dip down to Rice. Rice had 14 of their 20 signees, which actually is a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah,
'Cause-
especially with the parameters that you have to pass to be able to even get in. Like, literally pass to be able to get in.
That is a little bit surprising. I'm sorry, I skipped over them, but ahead of them is A&M. 73.7% of their signees came from the state of Texas, 14 of their 19. Next up, Houston, 68.8%. 11 of their 16 high school signees came from the state of Texas. Second to last in the state of Texas was UTEP. 8 of their 13 high school signees came from the state of Texas. Part of me thinks that is, I don't want to give them a pass, but because of where, that is pretty typical for them, because of where they are geographically, they do recruit a lot in New Mexico. They recruit a lot in Colorado. They recruit a lot in Arizona.
Which makes sense. It's an easier drive for parents to come down and watch their kids play from there than it is to go to DFW to El Paso.
California, that kind of stuff. So that's not necessarily surprising to them. What I did find to be surprising is the number 1 recruiting class in the state was also the one that had the fewest high school signees, Texas. The Longhorns only brought in 15 of their 25, 15 of their 25 players from the state of Texas. Only 60% did Steve Sarkisian shop local, so to speak. I think this is pretty interesting. Now, look, to be clear, 60% is still a lot.
Yeah.
60% is still a lot. When you're talking about the average, if you're interested, the average is 35.6. The national average, the average FBS program recruits a little more than 35% of their high school players from their home state. So you would expect a state that puts out, spoiler alert, more high school signees than any other state. Mm-hmm. You would expect them to have a higher be on the higher end of that. So there you have it. This is just a glance at which teams are doing the most recruiting damage within the state of Texas. And Sam Houston, Texas State, leading the way, but UTSA, North Texas, Texas Tech, not too far behind them, followed by TCU, SMU, and Baylor.
Yeah, it's also like it's one of those things that's really interesting to see from a team like TCU, who just made it to a national championship game. The name brands of Texas and Texas A&M and even Baylor, the fact that everyone in the nation knows the names of those schools. Mm-hmm. No offense to Sam Houston, obviously they're taking a huge step up. I don't think everyone in the nation knows that Sam Houston State University exists, but everyone knows that TCU, Texas, and Texas A&M, and the fact that they're nationally known, a household name, and they still recognize the amount of players that we have here to get those astounding numbers of 81.8% or 73.7%. That alone says a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you have it. Teams shopping local. Every team recruited at least 60% of their high school signees from the state of Texas. Some of them did a little bit more local shopping than others. Mm-hmm. I find that to be particularly interesting. Anyway, that's Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.